Fahrenheit. Now, I think we'll probably find that Tinyo is now going to lie down, but the rest of the pride here should be still quite active, so we'll spend a little bit longer with them. And while we do that, I believe Cheetah, no, James is not a cheetah, but James does have a cheetah, and it is looking very regal.
The cheetah is looking very, very regal indeed. Found the largest sort of, I wonder if it is a termite mound at all, actually. I think it's just a piece of large knoll of soil of really indeterminate origin. I'm not sure if that is in fact a termite mound or not. I don't think so. Anyway, she's found it as a vantage point, and much as the topi was doing a little bit earlier, she is now, of course, surveying the landscape for something that she might like to eat. In this case, most likely a Thompson's gazelle. And if you do hear a bit of human chatter, that's not because Senzor is overwhelmed with excitement. It is because there is a vehicle full of people next to us. All enjoying the sighting of this amazing cheetah. I mean, that really is quintessential, isn't it? Now, I can't see anything for her to sort of set her sights on around here. There are some topi around, they'll be a bit big, a couple of zebra. Well, hundreds of zebra, but they're definitely too big. And so I think she's going to have to wait for the arrival of a Thompson's gazelle, or perhaps an impala. And thank you all for your screenshots. Always nice to have them. Oh, she's great. Now let me just give you an idea of the temperature here. I'm going to guess that it's probably sitting at around 19 degrees centigrade in the shade, which is about 70 odd Fahrenheit, 69 odd. And maybe she has spotted something. And although the sun is bright, the altitude that we have here makes the climate very comfortable. And apparently somebody has seen behind the tail, and they think it's a male cheetah, which will make me very happy, because it was my initial impression. Then I heard somebody, one of the guides who was here before, referring to it as a female. Let's see if we can't see. That is most certainly a male cheetah. Well done, Kirsten. Well spotted. Francis, I'm very sorry. You're in Israel and I've missed your question. And what I heard was, do cheetahs pay tax? Which I'm sure wasn't your question. Oh, do cheetahs stay in packs? Not do they pay tax? No, they don't. The females and males will be largely solitary, but the males sometimes form coalitions. So they will sometimes live with their brothers, and certainly the two that we see at Djuma most regularly are two brothers that live in a coalition that is a permanent sort of arrangement. But often the males will be solitary, and this chap is probably solitary. I don't know that we're going to get a better view than that. I think he's going to head off into the woodland there. Now, what cheetah do, although they hunt in the clearings, they will often walk on the fringes of a clearing through the woodland like that. Oh, sorry about that. And you can see, and what he's doing is exactly that, and I think he might come out and hunt a little bit later. But you can see there in front of us, well, a number of people enjoying the Great Masai Mara and its exceptional animals. Alrighty, on we go. What a great sighting. We'll see if we can't get one more view. Alternatively, we'll press on and see what else we can find. But I don't know that we're going to get a better view than we've had. No. I don't think we're going to get a better view at this stage. So let's head back across to Tristan and the actually eating cats.
Indeed, we've got a little cub that's so fat his legs are splayed apart and was eating the tail of the zebra, which is now decided is not full. But if we look at Amber Eyes, who's just standing up to the right here, we can see there are no suckle marks there. There's nothing, no milk whatsoever, no suckling marks at all. So she can't have this cub at the moment. I don't know which female has a cub out of this pride, but none of them that I can see so far have any signs that they've been nursing a cub in the last week or so, which is really strange. It's interesting just to see. So I don't think Amber Eyes can possibly be the mother of that cub, unless they've lost this cub and she's lost her milk. But there's not even any balding around there. Any lioness that would have had a cub within the last 3 weeks will have balding still. The hair doesn't take 1 day to grow back, so very surprising that she doesn't have any signs. Maybe it's one of the other females that's within this group, but I have no idea who this little cub belongs to and who's the actual mother of it. Really strange to see though, because I wonder where that cub came from and what's sort of happened to it since, and whether or not it was even from the Nkuhuma pride, which begs another question as to who it could be. Like I say, I think we've got to just be patient and wait and see who exactly is going to be the one that brings out this cub again and actually sees it. We see it suckling on that individual animal, then that will answer the questions that we have around this. But Amber Eyes to me does not look like she could be the mother of that cub. There is in no way any sign of suckle marks or even milk that's being generated on her tummy at the moment. See how she's watching the male. The male came around for a little bit and just came to see what was going on here, and then he went back and lay down. But it's so cool just to be spending time with the Nkuhuma pride at the moment, and loving the fact that we're seeing them more and more often again, and that they're spending so much time with us in this area. Now let's see this female here. So Marissa, you're wondering if they're so full, would they still go out and hunt? Well, yes, they are opportunistic lions, so they will take any opportunity they can get. So like I said earlier, if a buffalo walked past here or another zebra, they could then potentially try and hunt that. Being as full as they are right now, I don't think so, but you never know. I have seen lions. Oh, you're right there, Ferg. Okay. Ferg's just had a little moment, a little cough there. But I have seen lions on a buffalo kill absolutely full and fat and can't move, and another buffalo arrived and they killed 2 of them. So it's just an opportunistic thing. They will hunt if the opportunity presents itself, but they're not going to actively go looking for food now. They're going to be far happier just sitting here in processing what they have caught and be able to then just feed off what they have. I don't think they're actually going to end up going and actively hunting tonight. I think tonight's going to be just all about digesting food, and we'll find tomorrow they'll then move around again. Look at this one with its leg. It's got this whole leg here that it's busy feeding on. Everybody else is trying to find scraps. All the adult lionesses, and one little cub has found itself the prize piece, which is the entire leg of that zebra, and you can see lots of meat still on there. You're never going to finish all of that, but well, certainly going to try. And that little cub's quite feisty. It's been growling at all the adult females. It's been causing quite a bit of trouble. So it's interesting just to watch the dynamics between them. So the lioness at the back is the one with the 2 colored, or the opaque eye on her right eye. So her left eye is absolutely fine, but her right eye is developing that sort of opaqueness and that cataract almost. So it looks like she's not going to be seeing out of the right eye as well as she used to, that's for sure. So that's her. Now let's check her belly. No, she doesn't have any suckle marks that I can see either. I wonder, there's such a mystery, this little cub. Out of nowhere it arrives, and then there's no suckle marks that we can see, and like I say, even if that cub had no longer been alive, there would still be evidence that those females had suckled at some point, and there's just no evidence at the moment that I can see. Given that Ellie only saw that cub about 2 weeks ago, they would still be balding around the teats. Well, let's see. We'll sit a little bit longer and try and see if I can't look at every single one of the 5 lionesses and work out what's going on. And these lionesses seem like it's going to be time to start grooming and finishing off the last, and so we'll spend a little bit longer here. While we do that, let's go to James Henry, who has got animals that we don't see here, with an animal that's being eaten right now.
Gazelle, and this is my first one. I didn't see one last time. I'm not sure why. Some Thompson's gazelles behind those, not the zebra, obviously, but the smaller ones, and you can see very nicely the difference between the Grants and the Thompson's gazelle. The Tommies are much smaller, and the Grants, well, they've got much bigger horns and more snubby noses. They look almost like a sort of mixture between an impala and a gazelle. That zebra is not doing itself any favours. You're on television, you might want to perk your ears up slightly. You look a bit like a donkey. 3 species in, well, half a frame, really. And there you can see the light has changed completely. Now it's getting to that pretty harsh white light. Now, all of these Thompson's gazelles I did not see, but I suspect that cheetah, from his vantage point, will spot them eventually, and he may well come wandering down here at some stage to see if he can't catch himself some breakfast. Oh, there's just life everywhere you look here. There's a much quieter chorus of birds at the moment because I think it's got a bit hotter. Senzo, can you look straight through there, just over the top of my finger, and see if you can see what I'm looking at? It's miles away. Yeah, if you look at that, if you look straight through that gap in the bushes that you've got there. No, not that. Now peel to the right slightly. Just slowly pan to the right. In between there. Somewhere around there. Keep going right. A little bit more. Yeah, where that car is. Now just a little bit further to the right. There. Now just zoom in there. Oh, I can't see it anymore. I mean, there's lots of stuff there, but there's an ostrich. Oh, there it is. Keep going right. Keep going right. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going there. That black dot is an ostrich at about 2 kilometers. That is the amazing thing about this place. You can see things 2 kilometers away. That's astounding. Sorry, we had a question and I've missed it, I'm afraid. Can we have it again? Emily, you said any 2 zebras have the same stripe pattern. Emily, no, they don't, and it would be astounding if they did. And what's interesting, I mean, much like, I think there have been the odd zebra twin born, or the odd pair of twins born. Most likely they were not monozygotic, but dizygotic. So, what do you call them? They're not monozygotic, they are fraternal. In other words, they came from 2 eggs, and so, no, their stripes are not the same. It would be outlandish if you were to find 2 zebras with the same stripes, in the same way that it would be outlandish to find 2 human beings with the same stripe, same fingerprints. Not stripes, we're not striped animals. But and the likelihood of that is so low that not even identical twins have the same fingerprints. So, you know, the oft-quoted line about zebra, far too oft quoted as far as I'm concerned, is that no two zebra have got the same stripe pattern. Well, that is absolutely true, but it's not particularly remarkable at all. You try and think of one organism anywhere that has exactly the same markings as the others of its species, and I think that you will have some difficulty. I suspect even if you looked at something like, two dung beetles of the same species, I think you'd find some individuality. But certainly with something as large as a zebra, no. Even with impala, I mean, I know they look almost identical. You'll find that there are definitely differences in their pelages. Now, Kathy, you want to know if a Thompson's gazelle is bigger than a duiker. I'm going to say a Thompson's gazelle is about 10% larger than a duiker, and then I'm going to consult this book that I have and tell you that a Thompson's gazelle apparently has a mass, of about 25 kilograms. Male, 20 to 35. I mean, that's quite a wide range. So let's just say 27. And a big duiker will weigh about 20 kilograms. A big common duiker, that is, of course. Let me just check that that is true. I'm pretty sure it's true. There are many, many duiker species. We, of course, only get the one Djuma. Where is the common duiker? Hang on a second. Royal bush duiker is what they call it. Yeah. It's exact. I was almost exactly right, except that the female, of course, is bigger in the duiker than the male. I'd forgotten that. And the Thompson's gazelle is the other way around. I will tell you that I don't think the cheetah has emerged from the bushes, so I think we'll carry on from our current position and see what else we can find across the plains of East Africa. And if you are wondering, of course, whenever anyone talks about East Africa, one must talk about out of Africa. And as far as I'm aware, much of that film was shot right here. And certainly our camp, just near Angama has that very last iconic scene of the lion and sitting on the... Sorry, one second here. That iconic scene of the lion sitting on the gravesite is just in front of one of the rooms at Angama. Sorry, Kirsten, I'm afraid I missed that in its entirety. I got entirely onto another subject. Jeffrey in Texas, you say we need to play the game Spot the Animal from a billion miles away. Well, I think that this is definitely the best place to do it. And Brent was saying to me that he reckons his eyes have really adjusted quite nicely to spotting at distance the other day. I don't think mine have. I did that with the aid of some fairly good binoculars. Well, there seems to be another gathering of vehicles up ahead. I wonder what splendours await us there. Of course, the real reason I've come into this particular area is that this is the last time I saw Scarface. Let's head straight across to Ali at Chitwa Dam with a nice surprise.
Well, after the whole morning chasing ghosts, we managed to find them. We are super excited. It's been quite a tough morning. They have been pretty much moving non-stop, but by the looks of it, and just by how bloody their legs look, I think they have managed to eat something, which is quite exciting because they're all pretty bloody. But good for them. It means like they've had a successful morning out. So yay! So it's this for Animal Rights Awareness. We did manage to get the wild dogs. We just got them a day later, so I wonder if perhaps we're going to get the giraffes tomorrow rather than today. Oh, I'm so excited. I haven't seen wild dogs. Very happy to see them now. Hello, pups. Yay! I'm so excited. So it seems like their bellies are quite full. Just the 3. This is a breakaway pack. So this is pretty much the whole pack. And are you guys gonna start cleaning yourselves? There's a hippo in the water that may not be too happy with them. Just popped out of his head quite noisy, in a very noisy way. But they are still looking around. Oh, wonderful to have them here. I'm so happy. Tess, you're saying I've got the lucky beans back. Well, I don't know if I've got them back, but I'm so happy right now. I think it's just the way it is. The minute Seb and I gave up and we just decided that likely we weren't going to find them, then we got super excited and here they are. Yay! All looking quite well, in good condition. I think one of the boys is looking quite fat. I think the boy has had quite a bit to eat. Two boys and 1 girl by the looks of it. Oh, look at that beautiful coating. This is the one.
Well, we're still with our pride, but what an epic morning this has been. I don't know when the last time we've ever had wild dogs, lions on a kill, and cheetah on a live drive. It really is quite something. So we really have been spoiled this morning, and hopefully Ellie will fight off the gremlins and we'll be able to go back to her with the wild dogs. But it's so cool to see. Meanwhile, our Nkuhuma pride is just really taking it very easy. Our male had a slight meltdown again with one of the females in the distance. He's right at the back there somewhere, hogging his carcass, which is, you can actually hear him every now and then, and you just see the bushes shaking when he gets upset. It's quite funny to watch, actually. But we've been watching this little cub this side with the female having a sort of go at one another over this zebra leg. So the leg has been, so to speak, a bone of contention. There we go. You like that one, Ferg? And you can see, look, every time it tugs on the sinew, the leg moves. So it almost looks like the leg is alive at the moment, and that's because it's pulling on the ligament that moves the actual foot. So there we go. Now you can see from the size of that hoof that it was not the largest zebra, but it was also not a tiny baby. That hoof is still quite large, and that's why this carcass will have fed all of these lions. But the male was very clever. The reason why he picked up that carcass and just dragged it as quick as he did, as far as he did, is because he's trying to get it under thickets to stop things like vultures and varying other animals starting to see what's going on. So that's why he's moved it as far as he has. But it's quite entertaining just to kind of watch that bush shake every now and then with his grumpiness. And I don't know why he's being such a grumpy boy this morning. He's got a nice big meal there, and he's got a full tummy. He's got all his females around him, so there's no reason to be grumpy. But well, I suppose if you are a male, every now and then you've got to just assert yourself and assert the dominance over the pride itself. But this little cub is loving this leg. It's going crazy. The other one is still busy tucking into the tail over here. It's pretty much pulled all the hair off the tail and is now trying to just get the last little bits of meat, but it seems to be just having more fun than actually feeding. It's kind of playing with the tail, and every now and then we see the tail being thrown around, and there we go, it's now picked it up. Yes, it's your tail, don't worry. You can see Amber Eyes just watches. She's not too concerned. So that's her there. She's looking really good at the moment as well. And it seems that the youngest female is the one that's got the bite marks more than anybody else. She's got quite a bad wound on the inside of her left leg, and then quite a few around the tail. And I wonder if maybe she hasn't had a run-in with this male prior to when we arrived. Still quite a bit of meat on that leg, actually. It's going to definitely fill that little cub up, and it's amazing how quickly they actually get through it. When she first started, the whole top section where we see a bone sticking out, that was all full of meat, and slowly but surely this little one has eaten its way down and is now exposing all of that flesh around the lower part of the leg, and has done really well. And look at those claws, massive claws, so cool. You can see why they do damage when they try and catch an animal with claws like that. They just hook them in, and there is nothing that animal can do. Once those are in, there's no way that animal is getting away. Very cool to see. And it's not every day that we get to see the claws out like that, because we know that the lions sheath their claws in and they don't let them come out because they don't want them to blunt too much. And so the only time you really see it is when you're around carcasses, where they stick them out to be able to try and grip that carcass as much as possible while feeding on it. So that was very, very cool. You can see the girls are all still quite alert. Every now and then you'll find, as a car moves around, so the females all pop their head up and they check, and they know on a carcass like this they need to be a little bit more wary of what's going on. They need to make sure that there's no hyenas arriving, also rival lions that could potentially come in, even though we know where they are now. There's very few lions that move in this area. Perhaps the sticks would move here, but 3 against 5, the Nkuhumas would always win that. But they don't know if the other lions haven't heard this commotion and are going to come into this area to see what's going on. And so you could have a situation where that happens, and that's why they're very alert. While the cubs are busy feeding, they're going to try and make sure that everybody is as safe as possible. Hello, little one, have you got some hair stuck in your teeth? It's always funny when you see them eating tails and things like this. This is what happens, is that they do get fur stuck in their teeth, and then they sit there trying to get rid of it, and it often takes quite a while to actually get it out. But again, I still don't know who this mother of these cubs are, because all of these lionesses that I can see... Oh, very cheeky, be careful. Amber Eyes is not one to play around with. She's only going to be tolerant so much, but that shows you just how, you know, loving these lionesses can be towards the cubs. Even when they're a little bit cheeky, sometimes they just allow it to happen and they don't worry too much, and they actually leave them alone and let them kind of carry on. But she must be careful, because like we say, Amber Eyes sometimes doesn't tolerate nonsense like that for very long periods of time. Now, talking about tolerating nonsense, why are you laughing, Peg? I know where I'm going with this. But our tolerance of nonsense, and the one who probably tolerates it the least, is Mr. James Hendry, and he's all the way in the Mara, driving around and admiring the beauty that is the Masai Mara.
And we are coming into a very, very large herd of beefalo. I thought for an instant the migration has arrived, but it has not. Look at this vast, vast herd. Let me stop. Well, I'll stop just about in the middle of it, and then you'll get an impression of its extent. I think there are about 250 animals here. Ooh, and there's some eland as well. Let us begin here, Sens, and we'll just pan around, and then I'll show you the eland. And in case every so often I park badly, like right now, and you get that pole in the picture, that's because I've parked like an idiot. But we have to have the pole, because we have to have a roof on in the Mara. And while it's not particularly the most film-friendly thing, it is great for shade, I must tell you, and with sun like we have here, very important. I'm not sure why these buffalo have decided they're so terrified. You might see lions come chasing across the plains after them. Hang on. What is chasing across there? Just more buffalo. I think they're just scared of us. Don't see anything else that it could be. Rudy, you say, do the animals here ever get close to the vehicles? They do, Rudy, but just remember, I mean, when you say do the animals get close to the vehicles, I know exactly what you mean, because it feels a little bit like the animals at Djuma, for example, are much closer than they are here to the vehicles. That is often the case, and it's for two reasons. One, there's much less stringent off-road driving protocols there. Not less stringent, but more well-defined. Because it's a private reserve, it's much more easily controllable, and so, you know, there is a little bit more off-road driving. Something is going on here. This is fantastic. I just can't see why they should be running, because there's nothing actually behind them. Isn't that great? Gee, that's a great shot. That is beautiful. Ruti, so the other part of your question is that, so I'm going to drive into the middle of this herd if I can. You will find that we can get pretty close to them in that way. As close often as we can in the Sabi sand. I've just got to move off the road here, I'm afraid. Sorry. There's another car behind us. But also, the point of what I'm saying to you is that often we are approaching the animals in the Sabi sand. It's not the other way around. Hi. Carry on. Go for it. Everyone is a bit surprised by our camera, you see. Being very polite. So I hope that answers your question. Certainly, I've been as close to lions as I have in the Sabi sands over here. But, unless it's a really special sighting, we won't go off-road for it. And because you can see so much more clearly, it's often not necessary. And so I suppose that does result in a very different feeling from the one that you've just had while you're watching those Nkuhumas. I can imagine that you were parked probably within 10 meters of them. I'd love to know why these things were running. Anyway, let's have a look around there. It's more than 200 strong, this herd. It's still coming. And it was right around here, everybody, that I last saw the great scarf face last year. Nearly everywhere you look, it was just magnificence. Yes, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You say it reminds you of an old Western movie. Yes, I suppose it does, rather. I'm listening to a conversation on the vehicle in front of us where I think they're Indian guests asking their guide if these buffalo can be milked like the ones that they get back home. And the guide is absolutely incredulous that anyone should consider milking a buffalo. Of course, it's entirely reasonable if you happen to be from India, because they look almost identical. Well... Anyway, he suggested quite strongly that milking these buffalo would be an extremely bad idea, which I tend to agree with. And it's a common question because it's quite well, it's one of my favourite subjects, talking about why they were never domesticated. And it's because they will try and kill you. Now, Roshni, carrying on with the theme of are we going to get close to animals, or, will we always stay this far away from them? You're saying, will we get close to the animals during the migration? I get the feeling that there is a sort of feeling, if you like, that we are much further away from the animals than we are at Djuma. I think that is in some ways true, but in other ways it's not. There's so much more space here that it almost looks like we're further away than we are. Roshni, we will be doing more off-road driving when the migration comes, once we've established ourselves properly here. Certainly during our TV shows we have permission to drive off-road in some areas, and we will be doing that. But as we become more and more familiar with the area and the animals, I suspect we will get quite a lot closer to some of them. But remember, the volume of vehicles here means that they have to be very, very stringent on the rules. They have to be very, very careful of what they allow and where. But I will try and get close to these buffalo now for you. The vehicle in front of us, with the people who want to milk them, has now got basically into the middle of the herd. I'm very pleased to tell you that no milking is currently taking place, and indeed it doesn't look like it's going to. So let's see if we can't get into the middle of this herd. And Shamsan, you say the horns of these buffalo are different from the ones at Djuma. They're not. Certainly the bulls here are bigger. They're definitely bigger, and they've got much wider spaced horns. But otherwise, they're pretty much identical. I mean, it'd be difficult if you put a Sabi sand buffalo into the middle of this herd, you wouldn't notice a difference. Yeah, now we're right in the middle of the herd. No more than 10 meters or 15 meters from some of them. And of course the other thing is that because we do so much off-road driving at a place like Djuma in the Sabi sand, the animals become that much more used to us being that much closer to them. And so their fight and flight response is modified accordingly. Alrighty, we're going to start heading for home now, and we're going to go across to Ellie, who has unfortunately lost her hounds.
Yes, we have unfortunately lost the hounds, but we are still in the fight looking for them. There was a view of one of them running not too long ago, but we can't see them now. So I wonder if perhaps they've crossed into an area where we can't see. And funny enough, for a second there I thought that they were going to check themselves into Chitwa because they pretty much went into the lodge. But then they came out, so we've just been trying to follow them around here and see where they go. Also, the main road is not too far away, so maybe they are somewhere around there. Watch out here. Oh, sorry guys, I'm just listening to a lot of radio talk because obviously there are people that are trying to find them, and there's 3 of us here trying to look for them, and the radio communication is not that good, so I hear a lot of static and I can't always hear what's going on. And obviously we want to try and help other people to come and have a look, but I think they've carried on going east because that's slowly the direction where they were headed into. Let's see. Maybe let's carry on. We're gonna try heading towards the main road again. See if perhaps we get them around there, because they definitely haven't been around here. So it is quite thick all around us, and I'm sure you can see just how many branches of trees and different things there are all around. So it's not, and there's just 3 of them, so it's a bit hard to try and spot them. But let's not lose hope. Maybe they'll be around. Just Jules from South Africa, you're wondering why just 3 wild dogs would break away from the pack. Well, sometimes animals do it just to enhance their chances of mating and spreading their genes down the line. So sometimes if the packs get a bit too big, it happens with lion prides, it happens often with wild dogs, they'll split, or a smaller group will split from the main group. I think maybe around here. and just to try and pretty much have more access to mating opportunities, and then, like I said, be able to spread down their genes. I want to see if maybe they didn't come around here, because I'm not too sure where they were last spotted heading into, but this is, if they started going north, then this is a good area for them to be in. Alright guys, so it seems like this breakaway pack, it's 2 males and 1 female, which is quite normal for wild ducks. Normally with the wild duck packs you'll have 1 or just a few females, and you'll have more males in total. So it's almost like a pack of brothers. Come on guys, where'd you go? I think we're back on the main road now. Let's see, maybe let's do another bit of a patrolling mission around here. Perhaps we'll be able to see them here. Perhaps we'll get some tracks. But if not, I'm very happy that before the gremlin attacked us, we managed to see the wild ducks on the right week of the year. Maybe not exactly on the day that we were supposed to, but better late than ever. And wild ducks have a knack for doing things whenever they feel like it. So, super exciting morning all throughout with all this endangered species that we have seen. I think we can count ourselves very lucky. Very, very exciting morning today. I think Tristan is trying to follow up on a leopard, so let's go over to him and see how he's doing while we carry on looking for the puppies.
Well, we are indeed. Isn't this insane? What a morning we're having, and to think that we might even be able to fill it with some other spots besides the cheetahs is really quite exciting. So we're just having a look at the moment. No luck just yet. We checked in the little riverbed. There wasn't any sign. Well, there was a sign there, but they were coming up towards Chitwa open area. So I'm just coming back to Gari Main just to check that they haven't gone back north again, and there's a tracker that's on foot trying to follow the tracks and see where they went. But so far it kind of looks like they're pushing more towards the sort of dam side. And hopefully we'll be able to champion. So I'm busy trying to fix my mic pack. I got too excited about the leopards on the road. Sorry everybody. How cool is this? Look. And it's my favorite 2 leopards as well. It looks like Thandi and Thamba, which is so cool. How exciting is this? This is very exciting. There we go. Let me just tell the guys that I found them quickly, because people are looking for them. But there goes Thandi. Tumba just cut off to the left. He's just walking in the sort of grass itself. But there we go. How cool is this? The station's located Tandy and Tumba mobile, straight east. West on Gari Main towards Chitwa Old Driveway. So my hunch paid off. I thought maybe just to come this side would be better, just to try and see if we can't see them on Gari Main. I was told that they were kind of inside the Mulawanini, but we're quite far. We're actually very close to Chitwa Old Driveway, and here's little Tumba looking up into the tree. I think he thinks mom's gonna take him to food, because every tree that he's going past, he's looking ever so longingly as if there's a carcass that could be there. Now somebody's just called him. Go ahead, Ralph. Ralph, there on Gari Main, well, just walking parallel with Gari Main inside Chitwa, mobile in a westerly direction towards Chitwa Old Driveway. Ralph, just myself and Jamie coming to join. I think just check on the Eastern Channel if there isn't anybody else making their way. But they seem to be walking, and now Ferg said he spotted some warthogs down the road. I wonder if she's not seen them as well. Look how they're watching these. let's see now quickly if we can't just get round here. Seems like they might be going back towards the road. I wonder if they didn't see those warthogs in the distance and have just cut into this little thicket just so that they can hide themselves. There's little Tumba up in the tree watching Mom striding away, and always full of games, little Tumba. Look at the size of his paws. Now hopefully he stays there. Oh no, he's put his paw down, but hopefully he stays there because they are massive. Now the guy's just driven right past us. Where are you two off to? I wonder if she's not going to go back to Djuma. It will be so cool if she goes to Djuma and has a carcass there. It will make my day. Imagine if we've got the Nkuhumas on a kill and then Tandy and Tumba on top of that on Djuma. It will really be the most epic morning, and I reckon this has got to be one rank as one of the best mornings I've had on Safari Live. We've got lions on a kill, 2 leopards, Ali with the wild dogs, James with cheetah. It doesn't get much better than that. We also, Ali had elephants, so it's been an epic morning, that's for sure. Hey guys. Now let's see where they go from there. I wonder if they're not going to go drink. There is a pan coming up in front, and imagine if we can get the 2 of them drinking together. That's not going to work. That's a bit of a bigger stump than I thought it would be. Let's try go around that. Yes, there is quite a large stump there. That wouldn't have worked at all. Sorry, Ferg, if I'm bouncing you around in the back. I reckon Byron chose a bad morning to sleep in. What do you think, Ferg?
Yeah, I think it might be a sign.
So there's quite a funny story about this, because yesterday afternoon Byron was saying to me, he's like, nah, you know, because he was supposed to be off yesterday afternoon, and he was saying to me, no, you can be off in the afternoon, I'll just, you know, go off in the morning, you know, hopefully it'll be, you know, quiet and I can have a good rest. And well, Byron, you chose a bad morning to sleep in, I'm afraid. It's been pretty epic out here, so hopefully it will continue this afternoon, because Byron of all people deserves to have a bit more luck. So James Hendry is saying to me that Byron is filled with bad choices. Well, James, you would know better than I would, but well, I'm going to go on your gotcha, since you do know a lot more about Byron than I do. So that it was quite funny, but I feel sorry for Byron. He's really had a tough time this week. He's followed so many tracks and tried so hard to find some of these cats, and they just really haven't been cooperating with him. So, you know, for him, I really hope this afternoon is an afternoon filled with wildlife for him, and that he gets lots of sightings of all of the cats that we get here. But there we go. Look at this. This is so cool. I'm always so happy when I see these two, and they're going straight towards the water. Hopefully Tumba will go across, and then we can go and position ourselves that we get a really nice view of the 2 of them drinking. There's something about watching a leopard drink that for me is just the best thing in the world. I don't know why. I suppose it's the photography side of it, is that getting photos of leopards drinking when they're kind of looking at you, and that reflection of them in the water is just so cool. Now they are going to drink. Let's quickly just get around here. Hold on, here we go. Now let's hope that they're going to stop on that side and drink on that side. Ferg, are you ready for the money shot? You're hoping. There we go, there's one down. Let's see if both are going. There we go. How cool is that? That is so cool. So we've got both of them. There's Thandi on the left and Tumba on the right. Now you can see, have I got that right? Yes, I do have that right. But there we go. That is as good as it gets. We've got reflections, 2 leopards drinking. Like I say, it really is as good as it could ever be to see it like that. Wow. Now you can see how thirsty they are. Little Tumba drinking away. Isn't he got the most striking markings around his face? I just always find that he's such a dark leopard. He's got these dark black markings under his eyes, which is quite unusual. So he really is one of the most strikingly beautiful leopards we have out here. And now, if you watch when he drinks, drinking with a cat is a very interesting process. Everyone always thinks that they put their tongue in and scoop their tongue forward and make like a bucket and suck water up. That's actually not how it works. With a leopard and lions and the other cats, when they drink, they have these very hooked tongues with these fine hairs all over them. And so what they do is they put their tongue in the water, and as they lift, that will cause surface tension, and the water actually grips on that sort of rough tongue, and as it comes up they then close the mouth underneath it very quickly, and that's how they get water in. And that's why it takes them a long time to get a significant amount of water, is because of the fact that they have to sort of take little bits in at a time. This is so cool. I wonder where they're going to go from here. Hopefully from here it's straight to Djuma, and that's where we end up going. This is very cool. Hello, Thandi. She is still one of my favorites by a long shot. I've spent so many great moments with her, and spent a lot of time following her and seeing her progress, and she just, for me, is just one of the most pretty females out here. What have you seen, girl? And she's starting to show that she's getting a little bit older now. She's got a sort of much different face. So when I first saw her, she had a younger, sort of rounder face, and it's getting a little bit more slender as she gets older, but still exquisite. Now we're going to stay with our cats and see where they go, and while we do that, let's go across to James Henry, who's got a massive herd of elephants to show all of you.
What an unbelievable morning this has been. We're just sitting with a precious herd of elephants here. I'm going to move a little bit forward. But leopard, lion, elephant, almost the Magnificent Seven. And if you've been with us just before the start of drive, you would have seen a black rhino. Unfortunately, well, we've got a bit of time left, we might find one. Just a little bit irritated as they head into the woodland as the day starts to get a bit warmer. They'll probably head off and spend the time on the fringes of the great Mara River, I think, for the rest of the day. We're not far from where we first saw the tipple skirchies this morning for International Giraffe Day, which of course it is. Tess, you say we're so blessed today. We are indeed beyond blessed. Well, beyond blessed would be a black rhino just around the corner. Anyway, as they head off there, we're going to see if we can't get ourselves very lucky before the end of the drive. I'll just quickly show you up onto the hill. That is where we are heading. You see there, Senzo? On the very top of the hill. I'm sorry about the roof. It is a necessary... well, not evil, but it is necessary. Okay, we're going to head up towards the hill there. Let's go back to Tristan, Thamba and Thandi.
So we're still with them, and they slowly but surely look like they're going to head into Djuma. They're about to cross the main road. There are some guys that are taking photos, so I don't want to ruin their shot as the leopards cross the road for them. So I'm just going to let them cross over, and once they've crossed over, we'll continue to follow them a little bit better. But isn't this cool? Come on, Thandi, you got to come back to Djuma and spend some time this side. You can see she's just twitching her tail now. I wonder if she hasn't spotted these warthogs, because Ferg and I saw these warthogs run from here, and I think she may have spotted them. That's why that tail's starting to twitch. You can often tell a lot from a leopard's tail and whether or not they've seen what's going on. There we go. There they go across the road. So little Tumba is a little bit nervous of the car still, so he went kind of jumping across the road as the vehicles pile up. Unfortunately, on these main roads, it becomes a bit of a mess because of the amount of cars. We've got lots of private vehicles that use these to go in and out, so there's a couple of them that have arrived as well, which is not ideal. But there she goes. She's going to stride down the road, and we're going to try and see if we can't follow her. So just checking with able, if I can go in front. I don't want to ruin his pictures that he's getting with his guests. So always good just to check with your fellow guides if everything is okay, if you can go through. Little Tumba's here on our right hand side. Hello, little boy. Come on, catch up with Mom. Looks like Thandi might come northwards, which is good. So I'm just rolling forward with Tumba. I don't want to sort of spook him in any way. He's already a little bit nervous with all the car activity, so just kind of slowly coasting along with him, letting him do his thing and go where he wants to go. Ultimately, we don't want to scare him in any way. We want him to get used to us, and sometimes when lots of cars are present, then this is what happens. Now, Thandi's given us what she thinks of this whole situation. She just squatted quickly on the road and deposited a rather nasty gift for whoever's driving there, because if that goes in your tires, it's not going to be a very pleasant experience at all. How you guys doing? Thank you. So, Jane, you want to know how Tumba compares to Thandi's previous male cubs at the same age? Well, he's about the same as what Wabayuza was. Wabayuza was a similar sort of size. And there's a waterbuck in front. You see there's a waterbuck? Now, I'm sure the waterbuck has seen Thandi, but there's a waterbuck straight ahead that's busy watching Tumba. I don't know if it's actually seen Thandi itself. She's now stopped on the road because she's seen that waterbuck. So let's see how this plays out. Little Tumba's walking through, but he's about the same size, and I think Tumba's going to be one of those late bloomers. I don't think he's like Hosana that grew very quickly early on. I think Tumba's going to be a little bit later in life. He's going to get bigger because his paws are massive, and I think he's going to grow into those paws, and he's already grown into his ears a little bit, but the paws themselves he's going to grow into. Now look, Thandi's cutting into the grass now, and Tumba's now seen Thandi as well as the waterbuck. Isn't that cool? Ferg, that's awesome. Well done. This is as good as it gets. Wow. Very, very cool. Now let's see what happens. I'm sure these waterbuck have seen these leopards. They're staring. They haven't made a noise yet. And we know with Thandi, she likes to catch big animals, so this is not exactly beyond the realms of possibility. Most other leopards would just leave a waterbuck to carry on. But with Thandi, this is not the realms of, beyond realms of possibility and where she can go. Look at her running in there. She's interesting to watch when she hunts because she often uses the long grass. And you see what she's done. She's gotten onto the road and she's using the long grass to try and cut through. There we go. Look, there she goes. I wonder if there's not a baby there that she's trying to go after. No, she's going after the... That's crazy. So she went after the impalas and the baby waterbuck, which ran across the road, and she's gone further north into this area. So let's see if we can't find her. She ran northwards, so I'm going to try and just quickly punch a hole into the other side here, because there's a little road on the other side. There's Tumba in front of me. Hey boy, it's okay. So he's listening for Mom. He's trying to hope that Mom has caught something. And I wonder, there's lots of alarm calling in front here. I wonder if his mom didn't grab something. If she did, she'll soon call, and you'll find this leopard will go straight, little Tumba will go straight to where Thandi is. Isn't this exciting? What a morning we've had. Wow. And they come on to Djuma, which is even better news for all of us. There goes little Tumba. Sorry boy, I don't want to drive too much behind you. I want to get around you. But I don't know where Thandi is. I think Thandi is somewhere here on my left as well. She came bursting into this direction. And there she is. I can see her now, so she's not too far. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to go any further. I've got a tree here that when I push over, it's going to make a cracking sound, and that's going to cause Tumba to run, which I don't want to do. He's just on the other side of this little bush, and Thandi's there where the vehicles are. So when she starts coming in this direction, or he moves off, I'll go over the tree and we'll try to get a better view. But he's just behind there. It's amazing how well they camouflage. You can see his spots through the tree, but otherwise, incredible camouflage that they exercise. little bit to the right there. There we go. There you can see it just inside there is little Tumba and his spotted pattern that just helps to break up the outline. Very, very cool indeed. Well, what an epic sighting we've just had of these two amazing spotted cats. And so while we try and follow them and try and find where Thandi's gone to, let's go back to Ellie and see if she's had any more luck with the wild dogs.
Unfortunately, the wild dogs carried on going east, where we couldn't carry on following them, but on our way back from the wild dogs, far away in the distance, we could see Tristan and Tandy watching the impala not too far. So we also were part in, you know, what you guys were seeing, which is awesome. We obviously tried to stay quite far away because we don't want to put any pressure on the animals. So now that they've moved up, we've managed to sneak our way into Cheetah cutline and just leave that area so that the guys can enjoy it over there. But I believe it was quite an amazing sighting, and I cannot believe the morning we've had today. I'm sure Byron is going to be quite upset, like James and Tristan were saying. So now we've decided to come back up Cheetah cutline and just see what else we can find around here. I mean, it's been such an incredible morning already. Altogether, we've had pretty much what they call the wonderful 7. So we've had all the big 5, maybe not. Maybe we haven't had rhino in the Mara. So, okay, almost all of them. I got a bit too carried away then. But wild dogs, cheetahs, leopards, lions, incredible morning, elephant, buffalo, so I can't really complain. But what a morning it's been. I'm so excited. I feel like my heart is still like beating too fast. Alright, now let's carry on, see what we can find. Everything is possible. Let's hope for pangolin. Hey Seb?
Yes.
Yeah, today would be the day that we see a pangolin. Then I reckon Byron would come and be very upset with all of us. But who knows? Oh my goodness, the surprises. And we didn't really have high expectations this morning with the weather, because it's been kind of windy, not too nice, but you see, you never know what you're gonna go get out there, so that's why it's worth going out every single day. Whew. What a morning, and I'm so happy we did manage to have at least a little bit of a glimpse of the wild dogs. I've been wanting to see wild dogs for quite a while, so yay. Alright, I think I'm going to actually carry on up here just to make really sure that we are completely out of the area and that Tristan is operating in, so that we don't disturb that sighting, because I know there are other guys also interested in coming and seeing Thandi and Thamba, which funny enough I still haven't seen from up close. So hopefully this afternoon they'll be around. We'll see. Seems like Tristan has managed to relocate, so let's go over to him and have a look at how Tandy and Tumba are doing after all this adrenaline.
Well, it has been an adrenaline-filled sighting, that's for sure. And little Tumba is now sitting on top of his mound, and he's just softly contact calling to Mom, just trying to work out where she's gone. Please come and find me again, and whether or not she actually managed to kill anything. So that's why he's making these little soft calls like that, just trying to see where she's gone and where Mom is, and hopefully she was successful that he could then get something to eat. But his got to be one of the most exquisite looking animals I've ever seen. Just the color of his eyes and the markings are absolutely amazing. And little pink nose still, which shows he's still a little bit younger. Now we know obviously that pink noses don't necessarily mean that it's a young animal, but you'll often find with young animals that their noses are a lot pinker than when they get a bit older. But there's your screenshot for those of you that wanted screenshots. That is it. Tumba saying hello to all of you and posing as best he can for all of you. There we go. Wow, that is special. For anybody out there that has ever sort of thought about or not really known what their favorite animal is or the beauty of wildlife, that picture right there, you cannot tell me ever that that is not one of the most beautiful things you could ever see. A leopard's coat is just the most magnificent thing. And to see them up on a mound like that, and to be able to see views of their eyes and to see their ears twitching, it's just one of the most magical experiences. And I can't tell you just how amazing it is to sit in such close proximity to one of the most elusive predators of the world. They really are phenomenal animals, and it's such a special thing to be able to do this. And I really do wish that every single one of you that is watching can experience this at some stage in your life. So not only just through Safari Live, but at some stage, by some way, that you get to experience that proximity to one of these cats. It's a humbling experience to be a part of it, and to be sitting here so close to one of the most iconic animals in the world. It's special. Don't you agree, folk?
I'm
very
speechless.
Yeah, speechless is a good word for it sometimes. So Travis, you say he's so photogenic. Well, I couldn't agree more, Travis. I think he's got to be one of the most photogenic leopards I've seen. And I can't wait to see this guy and follow his progress. And I hope that he becomes a dominant male in some area, that we get to be able to follow his sort of movements and the progress that he has. And we get to be able to see him as a big dominant male, because I think he is going to be so striking when he reaches that 7 years old, and he's going to be big and bulky, and he's going to develop that bigger head. I reckon he's going to be flawless in his sort of older years, which is going to be amazing to see. So hopefully it's somewhere where we can follow his progress and see where he ends up, because as we know, these young males do end up moving into other areas, and I don't know if he's going to be able to spend too much longer in this area. That is so cool. So, Laurie, you say his ears are like satellites. Yes, unfortunately, he does have very large ears, but he's grown into them a lot. When we first started to see him, when James first saw him, James used to die with laughter, because he used to say that the ears were just far too large for this cat's head, and he looked completely ridiculous. He has grown into them somewhat, and he will continue to grow into them as he gets bigger and older, and his neck develops and his head develops, so those ears are going to start to get smaller in relation. But those big ears are vitally important for a leopard, because they move around in thick, dense areas, much like kudu, nyala, all these other animals that end up having large ears. These guys are the same reason. They've got to be able to hear very well to detect prey animals ahead of them, so they use those ears much like satellites, just to turn all the time to determine what is actually going on around them. Wow. Little Tumba, you are quite something. White Lady Ewan, you want to say, should we do a one-word tweet for all of this? So you're saying, let's have a one-word tweet. Well, there we go. One-word tweet as to what you think about, I don't know, about Tumba, or do we do Tandy and Tumba, or do we do just the morning in general? What do you think, Ferg?
Oh,
tough one.
I don't think there's one word for this whole morning.
No, there's no one word for the whole morning, but let's do a one-word tweet on the sheer beauty that is Tumba. What Tumba and this picture right there means to you guys at home. There we go. That's our one-word tweet. For me, it's, I don't know what the word is. I think it's just speechless is a good one, Ferg. I'm going to steal yours. Hello, beautiful boy. Oh, that is phenomenal. You're going to be a lady slayer later in life, little Tumba. Yes, I'm talking about you. Look at that. He's looking straight at us. Isn't that amazing? That right there is the best thing in the world. When a leopard looks at you like that, for me, it looks as though they look into the deepest part of your soul, and it's almost like they analyze every little bit of you, and they work out exactly what you are, who you are, what's brought you into this place, and it's almost like they can work out what your character is by just staring at you. I don't know why I feel that way, but it feels like they're searching the deepest depths of your sort of brain and your being when they stare at you like that. Much the same as lions too. It's just a funny feeling when the two of them look at you dead on like that. And you can see breathing quite heavily, and that's because he was moving around quite a bit. So James Henry, you want to know what Hasana will be if Tumba is a lady slayer? Well, I don't know. Who knows, really? We'll have to think about this. I'm sure Hasana in his own right is going to also be a lady say, because he's another one of the beautiful young males that we have out here, and for sure these two together are some of my favorite young males that I've ever spent time around. I really did enjoy spending time around Wabayizo when he was young, but there's been other young males that I really haven't sort of formed too much of an attachment to, but this one and Hasana, to me, are just, I don't know, there's something about the two of them. And also I suppose it's their backstories that they've got, and the way that they've kind of been a part of all of this has really sort of molded them as characters in our lives. But hopefully, either way, Thamba and Hasana won't have James Hendry's track record when it comes to ladies, because that's going to be a bit dismal, according to Byron. Byron always tells me that James had a struggle until his later years, so hopefully these two will not be the same, and that they'll be on it straight away from when they're young, growing boys. Are you still waiting for Mum? So, Roshni, you say flawless. Well, indeed, because he's not going to look like that all his life. As male leopards go along, unfortunately, they're going to get scratches all over the face, going to get little pieces out of the ears, and so at the moment his ears are perfect, his face is perfect, he hasn't got any cuts or scrapes yet, and that means that he's in as good a condition as he'll ever be. Also, he's being fed by Mom, so he's nice and fat and plump and round. So he's going to have tougher times ahead when he leaves Mom. Although if we look at Hasana's done so well to be able to stay as healthy as he has. Now, Marge, I didn't catch what you said. Sorry, I was talking too much. Megs, if you can just tell me again what Marge said for her one-word tweet. Breathtaking. Well, Marge, indeed, it is breathtaking. Like Ferg said, it becomes speechless. You just kind of have to stop and almost just take it in and absorb it, and he really is breathtakingly beautiful. I'll get it out eventually. I love how he just listens to everything that goes on around him and watches the world go by, just sees his vehicles going past and just kind of takes it in his stride. And it's amazing how much more relaxed he's become over the last few months. He started out when he was first born, when he had his sibling. They were quite skittish, the two of them. And over time, they've become so chilled, and that's because of the amount of time that we've been able to spend with them. The more he's been moving around now with Mom, and the more time they've been coming to sort of Djuma and spending time at Chitwa, the more time everyone's been able to spend with them. When they go into Torchwood, because of the density of the vehicles in Torchwood is so low, a lot of the time the leopards that grow up there tend to be quite skittish to start with. And so now that he's spending time where there's a little bit more sort of commercialization and more vehicles, so you've got a situation where he's now relaxing a lot more. Now I believe Mom is lying down actually somewhere in front of us here. She's in that area, but still waiting patiently, this little guy, for Mom to arrive. Somewhere in that thicket there apparently is where Mom is. Z, you say bedazzled? Indeed, he does have that ability to bedazzle one and to make you kind of feel as though you've been dazzled by sheer beauty, and to think that that's what we see in nature is just amazing to me. Right, well, I think we're going to carry on just admiring the view, really, because why not? It's a beautiful leopard on top of a termite mound. And while we do that, I believe James Hendry, who can tell us maybe what he thinks Hasana will be, and has a beautiful view of his own.
My one-word tweet for Thamba is ears. And while we think about that, I just want to say that there is a vast plethora of life going on here. There's a little waterhole, not too far from where we are now. There are zebra. There are impala that have they're coming in from the right there. Then there are some pigs, giraffe, and I'm just going to ask Senzo to do his best to show them all to you. And they're all coming in to have a sort of mid-morning drink, I think, before we go off to have our mid-morning brunch. Right there? Senzo, I must just tell you, since the sun's come up, because I couldn't see him before the sun came up, it was too dark, has had a fairly fixed grin on his face. And I think, Senzo, you quite like it out here, don't you?
Mm. I can't see what's house now.
No, the warthogs have disappeared. Oh, yeah. If you look straight ahead of us, just between those two impala, you can see the little pig's ears sticking up through the grass there. You see them there? That's it. Warthogs here seem to be about as skittish as the ones at Djuma. Zebra making whinnying noises. Just very special. Lovely atmosphere. I must say this, as I've always said to you, that every wilderness place I've ever been has a unique smell, and this place has a unique smell of its own too. It smells like Mara, really. I'm not sure really how better to describe that. It's almost like a cut grass smell, if you like. The soil smells a little bit like Pinder in Natal, which I suppose it must be relatively snow, totally dissimilar to. A little bit like standing water, but in a nice way. It's got a wonderful, wonderful smell. We make our way up through the herd. Oh, look at those impala there with their enormous horns. One of them has lost his horn, and yet he seems to be the victor in the spat that's going on here. There we go. That's quite something, isn't it? Roshni, you say you can hear the zzz sounds? The zizzing sounds? What was that? Oh, the zebra sounds. Sorry, my communications are not great today. Yes, you can hear the zebra sounds, and it is a wonderful sound to be hearing. I can also hear, the reason I got a little bit confused is that I can hear some kind of a grasshopper that's making, it's stridulating. That's not a cicada. Right here, let us continue. Quite something, this place. We'll have one last look at this big herd and then we'll move on. Just look down there. Sally, you say this looks like a scene out of a movie. Well, Sally, have a look at what you're about to see. Look at that. That is very special. Very special indeed. Countless times the battles of the wilderness, life and death, being played out again and again and again out here. Gorgeous. Alrighty, let's go up. Hello, chaps. Alright, I believe that Ali is at another waterhole and she'd like to tell you about that now.
We are at another waterhole, or home waterhole, the Galago Pan, where the dam camera sits, and we thought we'd come around and just look at the place where everything started this morning. We had So a lot of you heard the zebras calling in the morning all the way from the dam camp. We heard them around here. There were trucks for a male lion coming around here and then going across from here. The same elephant we saw yesterday, we saw it at the pan here. So it's funny how sometimes everything is interconnected, and because we live in an environment where everything moves around in a certain area or depends on everything that's around them, I think that's why we can keep tracing everything back to the same point. So I think this morning it all worked quite organically. There is nothing at the dam now. I'm sure whatever all of the birds and animals and impala and everything that normally comes to the dam, they heard the lions during the night, or maybe the zebras making alarm calls, or could have been anything else, but there isn't too much life over here at the moment. So gonna carry on heading towards quarantine. I think I can almost smell the bacon that Happiness is making for us, because Amanda has gone on leave, and hopefully you guys will agree with us, but I think we all have worked very hard for our bacon this morning, and it seems like the animals have helped us out quite a lot. And I mean, what an exciting morning we've had with everything that's been going on. So I think I'm going to maybe reward myself with a very big cup of coffee and be very happy about it. And I'm sure we're going to share all sorts of stories about what we've seen and how we found things and what's been going on, because we get excited like that. So whenever we get back from the drive, you'll always see everyone discussing what we've been seeing for the last few hours of what we've been doing. It's like, oh, and I did this, and the animals went this way, and you know, and then I found them here, and then I couldn't hear you on the radio. So we're all quite excitable like that. We really enjoy the work that we do. And I think on mornings like today, what else could we have asked for? Okay, well, maybe a pangolin, but I think that's just being greedy, because we've just had a fantastic morning out when we thought that it was going to be so cold and windy and little things would be out there. So yay! Thank you, Africa. Thank you for a very good morning. Thank you, Djuma. Thank you, Chitwa. I think it's been great. And then, well, of course, thank you to all of the cameramen and the girls in FC and Tristan and James and everyone in the Mara, and to the internet connection. I could carry on going for quite a while. So I think just a big thank you to the universe is what we need for such a wonderful morning. Right, let's not close hope. We've still got a few minutes. Who knows? Maybe, you know, the last minute leopard will also be there. I don't think he's been seen for the last few days. I think the last morning Tristan had it, and we did drive around a particular patch and we had that typical popcorn smell. So I wonder if perhaps he has been around, or maybe in Bula? Who knows? Maybe he'll come back down for a visit. He was here not too long ago, so it could be. Let's just see what we can find around here. I think the impalas have all left. They have all cleared. Yeah, I would have. Diana, you're 6 years old and you're wondering what animal I would love to cuddle. I'm not sure. Leopards are quite stinky, and so are wild dogs, so I don't think I want to. But also, maybe a lion, because I'm really, really cold. So if I had a big male lion that wouldn't eat me and I could just snuggle in there and just keep warm, I think maybe a lion. But in real life, however, I would be too scared to get close to any of them. Or at least, you know, on foot. On the vehicles, they are fine with us. They don't really care. But yeah, I think maybe a lion would be the one. Just because it's cold and they've got a big mane, and maybe I can use them as a blanket. Can you imagine a lion blanket? A real lion blanket. Alright, this is a good area for smaller cats. So let's see if maybe there's anything around here. Some Senegal lapwings just flew in front of us. You can hear them making all sorts of funny calls. Hopefully good things will come our way. Let's carry on. We'll see if we find any other extra special surprises, but let's go over to Tristan, who I believe has left the leopards to enjoy a very good nap.
Well, Ellie, I don't know what more we could get prize. I suppose they are the rarer animals, but that's about as good as a morning as you can get. We had all of the big animals that one could ask for, so it was really very good. And so we did leave Thandi and Thamba. Thandi went south into Little Gari, just chasing some more impalas, but was looking like she was going to angle back towards the main road, and well, Tumba was still just sitting on his mound messing around and sniffing around. And so hopefully they're going to continue up towards the Mulawati, and maybe, just maybe, they'll be on our side at Twin Dams this afternoon with the Nkuhuma Pride. We know they're going to be stationary where they are, so it promises to be an epic afternoon once again. So not only did we have an epic morning, well, the whole day looks like it's going to be amazing. So all good here, and smiles all around. And I think bacon will taste much better this morning, talking about smelling bacon from Ellie, and that's why we left Tumba, because the smell of bacon was wafting. Happiness is here, so happiness is making breakfast this morning, and hopefully it will be good. Well, happiness is all around. Yes, exactly. It's happiness everywhere at this stage of the game, which has been amazing. In quarantine it is. Time to sort of calm down a little bit. It's been a bit frantic this morning. Fist pump, exactly, Ferg. It is definitely a morning for a fist pump, for sure. So, from myself, Ferg, Ali, and Seb, and James in the Mara. I'm not sure who was with the camera, but it's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you on our sunset safari.